Thanks for tuning in to your On TV News Desk. Here in the studio, I have pharmacist Maggie Gareau to talk a little bit about the flu shot. It's that time of year already.
It is already.
Can you believe it?
The year goes by so fast. Yes.
No, it really does. So, okay, so you and I have talked a lot about how there's a lot of myths around the flu shot, some misconceptions, but you know, it's a pretty common sickness that is pretty easily preventable from your perspective.
Absolutely.
So, okay, first of all, before we get into the flu shot, how do you know if you have the flu?
So there's the common cold and there's the flu. They're very similar: sneezing, runny nose, coughing, chest congestion in your nose. The main difference is if you have the flu, usually you have a high fever and fatigue, muscle aches and pains. So those things really set you apart from the flu and the common cold.
Just having a cold. And then there's also the flu, like influenza and the stomach flu, which but people say the flu just interchangeably.
Yes, absolutely.
But the flu shot is for influenza.
Yes, so that's one of the major things that I hear from people. They come into the pharmacy and they say, I'm not getting my flu shot, I got it a long time ago and I was throwing up all night. And nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, that is the stomach flu, completely different. So the flu shot is for influenza, which is a respiratory cold.
Right. Now, what are, from what you've heard in your time working in the healthcare field, what have you heard of the most common myths or misconceptions that people have about the flu shot?
So the major one that I hear all the time is, you know what, I'm a healthy person, I don't get sick, I don't need the flu shot.
Right.
And that is true. If you're young, healthy, older and healthy, you know, your immune system's working at its best, you probably would be able to fight off the flu without having the flu shot.
Right.
The flu shot is for people who don't have an immune system that's working very well. So young children, babies, pregnant mothers, the elderly, patients over the age of 65, people with chronic disease. This population, their immune system isn't able to fight off influenza
as easily.
Exactly, and then that can progress to pneumonia, which can even progress to death.
Right.
I know it sounds crazy, but 80,000 people in the U.S. died last year. 180 of that were children of the flu.
That's awful.
Absolutely, and about 3,500 in Canada. So that's the major one, is that people think that they're healthy so they don't need it.
Right.
But really, you do need it because we need to protect those who don't have the ability to fight it off.
So if you didn't get your flu shot and then you got sick, even though you're healthy and can fight it off with ease, you could spread it to someone who might not be able to fight it off with ease. So it's protecting the people around you as well.
Absolutely.
And I think it's kind of, people have this conception that it's this like medieval thing that people die from the flu. Like it doesn't happen now. It happened back then when we couldn't fight it. But the statistics that you're sharing is the reality is people are still dying from the flu shot. Or from the flu, sorry.
Yes. You know, we did see that a lot, especially in the United States last year. It was a really bad year for the U.S. And yeah, there were people dying. I remember hearing about a 10-year-old child in Southern Ontario that passed away, and he was completely healthy. His dad said he was laying on the couch just recovering from the flu.
I remember reading that.
Yeah, and it's so tragic. And you know, in a couple days' time, he couldn't fight it off. He was too young, and his immune system, you know, it did progress to pneumonia, and he just couldn't fight it.
So what are some other myths? We've also heard, well, one that I've heard anyway, is that that if you don't feel well, you shouldn't get the flu shot. Is that true?
No, you know what? Anyone can get the flu shot.
So even if you're sick, you can go? Even
if you're sick. The only exception is if you're on antibiotics and, you know, they've diagnosed you with pneumonia and you're still on an antibiotic course of therapy, or if you have a high fever, I would suggest not getting it.
Okay, and what about this? I think this might be the one that I've heard the most, that the flu shot can cause the flu.
Right. So a lot of people say, again, oh, I got the flu shot a couple years ago and then I ended up with the flu. And that is, it's basically impossible. So how the flu shot's made, they take a virus that causes the flu and they cut it up into little pieces, inactivating it or killing it. And that's what we inject people with, so that your body still recognizes the virus and builds up an immune response. So if you do come into contact with someone with influenza and you get the virus, your body's able to fight it off more strongly, quicker. So with that flu shot, it makes your body's ability to fight it off way better. But the problem is if you get get the flu shot, that virus is killed. It's inactivated, so it cannot cause the flu. There's absolutely no way.
But that being said, another myth on the other hand is that the flu shot is 100% effective, right?
Right. It's not, unfortunately. So the problem is that the flu shot does take about 2 weeks for it to reach its maximal effect. So if you were to come into contact with the flu in that 2-week period, or if you come into contact with the flu right before getting your flu shot, technically you can get the flu. Also, at its best, the flu shot is only about 60% effective, and that's because there's so many other viruses that can cause the flu. So with all of those other viruses floating around, even if you get the flu shot, you're only protected by a certain number of strains. So that's where the 60% comes in, where there's still going to be people that get the flu even though you get the flu shot. So you can get one of those strains as well. Like last year, the flu shot was only about 20% effective.
Oh wow. Yeah. So it kind of depends on the strain, as they do change, and they vary region to region too, from what I understand.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back in the studio with Maggie to talk a little bit more about the flu shot, how to prevent the flu, and where you can get the flu shot in our community. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back here in the studio with Maggie Gareau, talking about the flu and flu shots. So we've talked a little bit about common misconceptions, how to know if you have the flu or a cold or stomach flu and what the differences are. When are flu shots available this year?
So we've actually started to give out flu shots already to the high-risk population. So that, again, kind of includes the same groups that I was talking about before: young children, anyone over the age of 65, people with chronic illnesses, but also anyone who is a close contact with those people. So my grandparents are 92. I'm over there all the time, so I want to get my flu shot now so that I can help prevent any transmission.
So those working in the healthcare field and all of that would have had to as well?
Yes, absolutely. So those have started. We just started about a week ago, and then it opens up to the general population October 22nd.
So that's coming up really soon.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk preventative a little bit. What are some ways that people can stay safe from the flu this season?
Hand washing is like, and I tell that to everyone. I feel so bad because I don't want people to think that they don't wash their hands, but it's just, I can't hit that home. Exactly. Especially, you know, if you're in grocery stores, anywhere with shopping carts, anywhere with the debit machine pads, you know, there's so many people that are touching that throughout the day. So just making sure you're washing your hands. If you are sick, staying at home, especially if you think you have the flu, high fever, or fatigue. You know, if you're coughing into your elbow, or if someone is coughing around you, trying to, you know, you don't want to be rude and sort of avoid them, but you do want to try and avoid, because that's how it is transmitted.
Absolutely.
And also, just if you are at work and there's a lot of people, you want to make sure you're cleaning and disinfecting surfaces such as the phones, keyboards, debit machine pads.
They're just germ collectors.
Yes. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Okay, so flu shots are available basically this week.
Yeah.
What would you say then to people who would argue there's no point in getting the flu shot after November?
Yeah, so a lot of people that, you know,
really then that's only a week span.
Exactly. And we do see a lot of people come in October, November, and then it sort of dies down. And usually what ends up happening around Christmas time, people are in close contact, people are traveling around, so then you see a spike. And usually the flu season peaks around January and February, and then starts to dwindle off. But really getting it at any point in time is the best.
Beneficial.
And you do want to get it early because it does take that 2 weeks for it to reach its maximal effect for protection. But you know, if it's January and you haven't got it, come into the pharmacy and get it, because if we end up having a long flu season like we did in the last year, I think it went into spring, late spring.
You're protecting yourself.
Exactly, the protection's still going to be there.
And where can Suites go to get their flu shot?
So, so I work for Food Basics Pharmacy at Pine Plaza, and we're part of the Metro family. So there's Metro Northern and Metro Churchill.
Right.
And now pharmacists are giving the flu shot, which is awesome because it's allowing people to come without an appointment. I know at my pharmacy you can come without an appointment.
And it takes the pressure off the clinics in a lot of ways too.
Yes, exactly. And you know, if you're just grocery shopping, you think, oh, I'll just run in and get my flu shot. It makes it quick and easy. So we have them without appointment, and people can go to any of the local pharmacies to get it. Algoma Public Health also offers it, and some physician offices, I think, are still offering it as well.
So there's pretty much no excuse not to get it with all this
exactly.
evidence? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and you know what, with Pharmacist, we did over 1 million flu shots last year.
Wow.
So, you know, it's there, we're there out in the public, it's making it very easy.
How many years have pharmacists been able to do it? Is it a recent?
Yeah, it's within the last, I think, 3 or 4 years. You know, we've expanded our scope, and it's really, I love it because it gives me another chance to talk with the patients, get to know them. You know, it's not just filling a prescription and not being able to have a conversation. Exactly.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Maggie, for taking the time to come and share with us some insight on the flu shot.
Thank you so much. That's great.
And don't forget to get your flu shot. We'll be back with more news coming up on TV just after this break. Stay tuned.